Superman Shadow of Apokolips on the PlayStation 2 was always one of those games I used to see sitting on the shelves at my local game store growing up, but it was never one I had any desire to ask for or somehow convince my parents to spend their hard-earned money on.
How do you like this, Metallo?
A big part of that was because, like many people, my perception of Superman games had been shaped by Superman 64. While growing up, I'd heard from friends just how difficult and cursed that game was, and as a result, I never really had much interest in playing Superman games at all.
Stupid fucking game.
However, after playing quite a few superhero games as of late, I thought it was finally time to bite the bullet and give this game a chance. I've also read that plenty of people online describe it as the best standalone Superman game ever made, which definitely raised my expectations going into it. Having now finished it, this is one of the games that I really wanted to like. Unfortunately, it's also one that I'm fairly confident I'll never play again, so I guess I might as well just end the video here. All kidding aside though, it's not because it's terrible, actually far from it. In fact, I think Shadow of Apokolips had all the right foundations and ideas to become a memorable Superman game, although for me it simply lacked the execution needed to bring those concepts together. But to start on a positive note, the story was undoubtedly one of the highlights. The game stays very close to the animated series and does a fantastic job of feeling like an extended episode from that universe. Many of Superman's most iconic adversaries make appearances throughout the campaign, including Lex Luthor, Metallo, Livewire, and even Parasite.
Keep still while I feed.
That's gross!
It sure is, Billy.
As a Superman fan, it was genuinely enjoyable seeing so many familiar faces appear throughout the story, and I thought the narrative did a respectable job of giving players a reason to keep pushing forward. The visual presentation was another major standout, as the game embraces the look and style of the animated series, and because of that it has aged surprisingly well. The character models for Superman, Lois Lane and Lex Luthor all look great, and the overall presentation does a fantastic job of staying true to its source material. And in many ways, I like to think that Shadow of Apokolips absolutely nails the look and feel of Superman.
It's not bad.
When it comes to the gameplay itself, there were definitely things I liked. The flying controls are generally functional, Superman's heat vision feels appropriately powerful, and several of his stronger attacks do a good job of making you feel like you're controlling one of the most powerful superheroes ever created. There were moments where the game genuinely captures that Superman fantasy. The problem, however, is that those moments gradually become less exciting the longer the game goes on. One of my biggest issues is the lack of progression. What Superman can do in the opening stages of the game is largely what he'll be doing by the end of it. There aren't any new abilities to unlock, major upgrades to discover, or significant additions to your moveset as the campaign progresses. As a result of that, the gameplay starts to feel repetitive much sooner than I would have anticipated, and unfortunately that repetition extends into the mission design as well. Many objectives involve flying to a location, defeating enemies, transporting civilians or an object somewhere before moving on to the next encounter in what feels like an endless rotating cycle. And while there's nothing inherently wrong with that formula, in this game it does begin to feel a little too predictable quite early on.
1 more minute, Superman.
Does it get worse than that?
The combat also never quite reaches the level of satisfaction I was hoping for. It's functional like I mentioned, but I often found myself wishing there was a bit more of an impact behind Superman's attacks. Considering this is one of the most overpowered heroes in comic book history, some encounters felt quite restrained, and the audio work behind it definitely didn't do it any justice.
Are we supposed to hear something?
And that's ultimately where I think the game fell short. The developers seem to have understood Superman, the world, the characters, and even what players would expect to do as Superman, but they struggled to turn those ideas into consistently engaging gameplay, which is a damn shame because the foundations are all there. Looking back on it now, I can absolutely see why people consider this as one of the better Superman games ever made. The story is solid, the presentation is excellent, and the faithfulness to the Superman animated series is absolutely admirable. Although at the same time, I also think that's a reflection of how few Superman games have truly nailed the character rather than thinking the game itself is a hidden gem of some sort. Personally, it's a game that I respect more than I actually enjoyed. I don't regret playing it, and I'm glad I finally got to experience it after all these years. But while I can appreciate what it was trying to achieve, it's not a title title I'll be reminiscing about anytime soon. If you're a fan of the Superman animated series, there's definitely something here worth experiencing, just don't go into it expecting the definitive Superman game. That's all for this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a comment below, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.